Hey there, welcome to saas.unbound podcast. I'm your host, Anna Dana, head of growth at saas.group, a serial acquirer buying wonderful SaaS businesses to take them to the next level. And here I chat with inspiring founders and experts to get an inside scoop on how they made their businesses a success. And today with me is Sahil, CEO of Spiralyze, turning B2B SaaS websites into lead generation machines, which is a great promise. So let's dig in.
Let's do it. Thank you for having me, Anna. Really glad to be
Sure.
here.
Absolutely. Well, let's start maybe with your background because I know that also until 2022, you were founder and CEO of ER Express that you then sold to Constellation Software. And, as we at SAS Group, as an M&A company, would also be very interested about your experience. So if we can talk about it for a couple of minutes too, that would be great.
Happy to do so. So, my background, I spent a long time in healthcare, 18 years, and ER Express was where I spent a lot of it. I was the founder, CEO. It's a patient scheduling and digital registration solution. We sold it to big hospital systems, mainly in the US we call acute care, which is like emergency care, urgent care, and we did it for both human ER and urgent care, and also for pet veterinary ER, because they have very similar challenges. And a lot of ups and downs in that business. Learned a ton as a first time CEO. Very fortunate that uh, toward the end of the chapter, Constellation Software, which is a large, really successful vertical software business, approached us unsolicited and were interested in acquisition. We were a good fit for the type of kind of small to mid-sized company with a vertical specialty, and it worked out really well. It was a good win for customers, good win for the employees to find a permanent home, and financially it worked out as well. Wasn't a home run. I think it's important to share that because most of the time people, it's the story is I founded a business and it grew so fast and I sold it for a gajillion dollars, and now I don't have to work again. That wasn't the case here. It was an okay outcome, and I think that's real life. Is sometimes most companies don't even get that far, and sometimes even when you get the transaction, it's not the I can now retire to the Caribbean and hang out for the rest of my life type of transaction. And learned a ton from it. I think really gave me a lot of ammunition for what I'm doing today, which is the CEO of Spiralyze.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for being very honest about it. I think, yeah, there is a lot of like, I don't know, fairy tale kind of flair to exits,
Yes.
right? Like you sell and then you just skedaddle to an island. But yeah, not all of them work out this way. But well, I'm so glad to hear that it was overall a very positive experience. So let's get to Spiralyze. What is Spiralyze? What are you guys doing? And who's your customer?
So Spiralyze, our customer is B2B SaaS companies. And there are 34,000 websites that run A/B testing of some kind. We'll talk about for a minute for those that aren't familiar with A/B testing what it is. They run A/B tests, and we scrape all of those websites, those 34,000 websites. We crawl and scrape them and find the best A/B tests, and then we run those for our clients. And our clients can expect 30% increase in their conversions when they work with us. That's our promise.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask about that promise because I saw it on LinkedIn and I was like, okay, that's the catch. That's what I have to ask about because, well, it's good to kind of have this promise, but then it says guaranteed. So how do you
Yeah.
guarantee that?
It's a bold claim. How can we
Yeah.
guarantee it? Because 30% anything is pretty significant. And then
Yeah.
if you're a B2B SaaS business, okay, this means you're not on Amazon selling shoes. You're not not that that's easy either. How do you get 30% more of anything? And so what most and by the e-commerce figured this out years ago, maybe decades ago, really. Companies like Booking.com were really the pioneers of this concept of A/B testing, which is you take two versions of your page and you run them side by side and you split your traffic. So half of everyone gets one version of the page, half of everyone gets a different version of the page, and you compare the results. Now, when I say results, if you're an e-commerce company, let's say you're selling shoes, maybe you show a different image of the shoes. Or maybe you put a little thing right below the thing that says, the little button that says add to cart. You put a little line that says free returns that addresses someone's anxiety that, like, what if I buy these and I don't like them? And then you measure, does it make a difference? That's A/B testing. So companies like Booking.com were the pioneers of this 10, 20 years ago. They started figuring it out. In the last 5 to 10 years, really the B2B world took notice and started implementing this idea that takes some of the guesswork out of how do you make your website perform better? How do you turn your website into a lead and sales machine?
Yeah. All right. So, okay, we still didn't get to the guaranteed part, but I guess maybe later.
The guarantee part. Yeah. Okay. So the guarantee part. How do we guarantee it? Someone goes, yeah, I like this. I like this idea of A/B testing. It sounds much more scientific than what we do today, which is we go into a room, we hire an expensive agency that shows us a bunch of beautiful ideas, and then we argue about what our homepage should look like. And no surprise, the highest paid opinion in the room usually wins. And even when that person gets the final say, we don't know what's going to happen. Our conversion rate go up, go down, stay the same. Looks better. And many have had these experiences. They roll out a new website, and the performance of those, when I say performance, the number of conversions that you get from the traffic you already have goes way down, even though the site looks better. Nightmare scenario. So A/B testing is a more scientific way to get there. Here's the guarantee. What we promise our clients, the reason we can guarantee is because we've built a prediction engine that crawls 34,000 websites and finds the winning tests. And so what we do is run tests that have data that shows it's already worked for other companies like them. So if you are a mid-size B2B SaaS business that sells into the SMB market, your audience is, let's say, construction companies, and you offer a free trial product, we can find companies like you and say, here are 10 tests that you should run. We know which ones win. We know which ones lose. We validated how much lift they get. And based on that, we can estimate how much lift we should get you. It's an incredibly powerful way to, instead of test based on hunch and intuition, test based on actual hard data. That's why we can guarantee it.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you. Okay, we cracked this. But let's get to maybe a bit of the setup for it, and like when companies should actually invest in something like this. Like, what if I'm just at the beginning of the journey, very early stage? Does it make sense to run A/B testing at all, or does it depend on like the traffic that you're getting to your page or the number of conversions? What companies do you say no to? What companies do you not work with yet?
Yeah. Let me say, I'm glad that you asked that. How early is too early to do A/B testing? And we'll put the context here for our audience of within the B2B SaaS world. A good threshold is, are you getting at least 50 conversions a month? And for B2B SaaS, that's typically one of a few things. Someone signs up for a free trial. That's one. But if you're not getting 50 of those, you're probably very, very early. A month. 2, you have a talk to sales, request a quote, see a demo, like a sales-led motion, number 2. Number 3, you have like just a general contact us, talk to us. Those are the 3 big hand raisers in B2B SaaS. Now, secondary to those are things like webinar signups, white paper downloads, event registrations. But I'm going to put those over to the side because while those are valuable, that's the low intent, very tippy top of the funnel. And you should first focus on your higher intent audience because that's the most valuable audience. If you haven't optimized how you convert that traffic, you're not picking the low hanging fruit. So 50, I would say, is the threshold. The sweet spot is if you're getting at least 100 conversions a month.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, well, we will get back to the A/B testing world again, but I also wanted to ask about the company itself, right? Well, how was the inception of the company in the first place? How did you step into it and decided that, well,
Yeah.
we're going to be better?
So, how did Spiralyze as a company come up with this idea and this
Yep.
business model and what makes it different? And I have a unusual story because I'm the CEO, but I'm not the founder. So, actually, a lot of these, I'm going to share how they got there, but a lot of these decisions were made before I came along. In fact, I was an early customer of Spiralyze when I was running ER Express, and I didn't even know what CRO was. If someone had said the word A/B testing, I think I could have reasoned out what it is. But the idea of doing it on a website in a B2B business was very new to me. So I was a customer, we used it, and it had a big impact, and it opened my eyes to how powerful this is, and specifically how powerful Spiralyze is. This was back in 2015, so ancient history, more than 8 years ago, and kept running ER Express, kept using the technique, and then after I sold ER Express, I was thinking about my next chapter that we talked about earlier. When I sold ER Express, it was a good outcome in a lot of ways. It was not I'm going to retire to the beach and hang out for the rest of my life. I still needed to work. So I was definitely looking for the next thing. And the founder of Spiralyze, his name is incredible person. His name is Gajan Retnasaba. Continued to do an incredible job building and growing Spiralyze, and he was looking for a partner to help him take it to the next level. And we had complementary skill sets. He was good at some things, I was good at some things. They were not always the same things. And I was really intrigued by it. And I already knew the product because I'd used it. And so I joined Spiralyze as CEO in 2022, so 2 years ago. And it's been a great ride. And also with its ups and downs, but it's been a great ride. So
Okay, all right.
that's how I came in. So I just want to give that context is that these decisions, like which market should we be in and
Mm,
what's the unique hook, like I've helped refine them, focus them, start to get it to the next level. But they were made before I was here. Now I can share a perspective on how they got there, but let me stop there. Anna, questions you want to ask
sure.
about just that journey because it's unusual. It's not the typical founder CEO or even hired gun CEO. Most of the time you hire CEO because the founder has left.
Right, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, this is also really interesting and exciting because, well, now you're the CEO and you're like you said, you're taking the company to the next level. So, what has been this next level for Spiralyze? How did it change when you joined, and what's next?
Yeah. Great question. How did it change since I joined and what's next? Well, the first thing that happened right around the time I joined, the economic recession of 2022 started. So if you look at
Good
Sahil's,
timing.
like the date that I joined and just the sector performance in B2B SaaS, you like to say, oh, I joined and the company did this. And that's not what happened. Now, thankfully, it didn't do this either. But I would say the sector as a whole largely flattened. People were buying less. People who were using it maybe stopped using it. And I'd just say just the MarTech world. There was less buying going on. There was a lot of rationalization, consolidation, reduction in the MarTech world. And yeah, we were impacted. And I think we were lucky because of what we do, and it has such a direct impact on our customers' top line. We withstood that storm in a pretty healthy place. So One thing we've done, there's three things. One is we've just had extreme focus. B2B SaaS is our target customer base, our ICP. And I would say we used to, I would say, not be as disciplined. Not like a lot of young companies. Nowadays, if someone's willing to pay you money, you take it. Thanks to our growth, we've been able to be more picky, more disciplined about really sticking to customers that we know best, where we're really good, where we have something unique, this unique selling proposition. And the great thing is the more we do it, the better it works. Back to those the recession, the MarTech shrinking, it's hard to be that disciplined when there's fewer customers to be had. That's the first thing we've done. The second thing is really focus on that performance guarantee. It's a really strong hook. I know it got your attention. I think it tends to get the attention everywhere we go. And we made it really easy to say yes. The guarantee is in writing, number one. Number two, the client, our customer, has the final say on what counts as conversion lift. It's not mutual agreement. The client has the final say. And the reason is one of the biggest apprehensions our customers have, or our potential customers have, but it's a good one, is that we're going to come in, promise this big lift in form fills. We're going to get more people to click on that, get a demo, fill in the form, hit submit. And then it turns out the marketing team goes to sales and says, we got you 30% more form fills. And the sales team goes, yeah, but they were all garbage form fills. They were bots, they were Gmail addresses, there were people from 5-person companies that are never going to buy the product. So not only were those form fills worthless, they actually cost us time and precious resources because we had to go chase down people that were never going to buy from us. And then you've actually destroyed value when you do that. So we promise 30% lift, and it has to be qualified lift from the people that they want to talk to. Again, whether you're talking demo requests, whether you're talking free trial sign up, whether you're talking, webinar registration, contact us form, white paper download. So that's the second thing we've done, is just be really strong with our guarantee and make sure our clients understand we don't get paid unless it's the quality ICP leads. The third thing we've done is really try and get ourselves out there more, because reality is, in the world of B2B SaaS, a pretty small slice of the world is doing any kind of A/B testing. So the good news is there's a lot of upside for us. The bad news is no one has heard of Spiralyze. Anna, my guess is before we were scheduled to talk, you had not heard of Spiralyze either.
Well,
So,
I researched lots of podcasts, so I did a little, but not in a way that you would want me to.
well, but even the podcast, that's part of the reason I do things like this, is to help get ourselves out there, have wonderful conversations with people like you who are experts in the space. And it helps, I think, in a organic way, a non-salesy way, and nothing wrong with sales. I think of myself as, I spend a lot of my time on sales. But things like this, just getting to tell the story, interact with people, be seen, is a way to get the brand out there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's great. First of all, again, thanks for bringing a bit of a honest picture to this. I think 2022, 2023 has been a bit of a roller coaster for everybody, and
I think that's true for everyone.
yeah, that's true. And longer sales cycles and going at it with bold promise and then a bold move with not getting paid until there is a result. I think it's very brave. Yeah, I think what you're doing is really great for companies if they want to find what works better. But how to, well, I want to make sure my product works better and I want to get more leads, right? And not just leads, I want more conversions. But how do I start? Like, where do I source for ideas? Like, what to test? And like, what are kind of the common A/B tests that people are asking for? Or what are the most common A/B tests that you kind of tell people to do?
Yeah, so great question. What are the most common tests? If you're getting started, you actually have a little bit of traffic now and you can do some testing. How do you come up with testing ideas? And what are some tests you can run? And here's what I'd say. I'm going to go through 3 ideas that everyone listening can do on their own. And you don't need fancy software. You should get some kind of A/B testing software. There's some really good tools where if you're just starting out, you can do it at like low cost or actually no cost, free version. So the first thing is make the copywriting on your landing pages. And let's start with landing pages because that's where most people are sending traffic, trying to get people the destination, whether you're running Google search ads or LinkedIn ads or just organic and getting people to the destination. Then you'd say, hey, I got this conversion point. I want them to fill in this form, that free trial or that talk to sales, get a demo. So I just want to lay the ground for what is the visual, the sandbox that we're playing in here. Number one, get rid of the wall of text and replace it with 3 easy to read bullet points. And each bullet should be no more than 2 lines of text. 1 line is even better, but 2 lines max. And bold the first 3 words, 3 to 4 words, and those should be the most important words. The web rewards skimmability. So a great A/B test is if you have a page with really good content, make it easy to skim. When you free up all that space, put a row of your exemplar, your best customer logos above the fold. So when you test, if you make something shorter, more concise, easy to skim, first of all, that's good for your conversions. Second one, it frees you up. It frees up valuable real estate. What are you going to do with that real estate? Show social proof. Now, if you want to get a little more sophisticated, you can also experiment with different types of social proof. If you've got trust badges, great, you try them out. Customer logos, almost always a winner. If you've got great star ratings on Capterra, you can put some like a sample testimonial. Try all of those things. Okay, so that's idea number 1. Idea number 2, if you have a lifestyle image means some happy person that you imagine to be what your customer looks like or thinks they look like. And they're pleased to be using the product. Maybe even you show them using the product or you show them in their environment. Let's say your end user are architects and you have a picture of an architect looking at her blueprints. So you're signaling to your audience, hey, this is for you. Instead of that, or if you're running an A/B test, just show a picture, a screenshot of your product. The data shows you get way more, 15 to 20% more conversions when you show a picture of your product instead of a lifestyle image of your users. Okay. Number 3, make a quantitative claim as the big headline on your page. So classic B2B SaaS landing page or homepage will say something like, the best software for architects or world-class automation and excellence defined. I mean, vague jargon salad. It doesn't tell anyone what they're doing. Just something simple and quantitative, like 30, let's say you're a payments company. You could say, get paid 30% faster. That's pretty good. Integrate third-party apps with 10% less effort. Now, I'm just making some stuff up. But big, bold headline that's quantitative. You don't have to do a lot of engineering work. You don't have to hire an agency. You can do these simple tests. Those are three of the first tests if you're just getting started out that I would run. And the data
Okay.
shows these ideas have worked for a lot of companies.
That's great. Well, it seems to work for you too. Like I went while you were talking, I went to Spiralyze, and the picture of the product
Good. You should.
right
Are
there.
we living up to our words?
Yes.
Yeah, what'd
Very
you find?
quick, quantitative promise: 30% more conversions in 90 days. Very easy. There is your social proof, and yeah. So basically, everything you just told me about is already there and well seems to work for you guys. So that's great. That's you're living up to your word. So that's great. I love that. But yeah, well, we figured out, what where to get ideas and like tools to use in order to maybe run A/B tests if you're already there, if you got those at least 50 conversions per month that you're working with. Well, what if, and tell me if you've ever experienced that as well. What if A/B tests are inconclusive? What if you're running something and you think, oh my God, like this copy is so much better, or like this landing page just looks better. Like everyone in the teams think it's better, uh, but it's like it's 50-50. People
Yeah.
basically love this one and the old one as well, but the old one didn't convert that much. So we had all our eggs in this basket for this new design and new promise. What to do then? Do you run? Do you do the third design? Do you, you know, do later, get more conversions, test some more people?
It's a wonderful question, Anna, because what you just described, we got a new design, we did the A/B test, and the results were inconclusive, is actually the statistical most common outcome to any A/B test. I should tell everyone the industry average is that 1 out of 10 tests will beat the control at a statistically significant level. 8 will be inconclusive, and 1 will be a big underperformer. So you should steel yourselves for that reality. It's very sobering. Now, because of the data that we have, our win rate is much higher, 3 in 10. But that's also sobering because it says, hey, a company like us, we've achieved some scale. This is all we do for a living. We know the space really well. Still, our customers, 3 in 10 win, about 6 are inconclusive, 5 to 6 are inconclusive, 1 or 2 are underperformers. Just want to give that context. People should be prepared. If you have that situation, I think you've got a couple choices. One is you can just say, well, it didn't win. Let's keep the control. I think the best approach is you should get back on the saddle and test a new idea and continually be testing. Now, the reality is, what do you test and what do you do with this design that everyone thinks it just looks better, but it didn't beat the control? If it looks, I mean, everyone can just say, look, this page, it pops, it looks modern, everything's better, and it was roughly neutral with the control. I would then call it not a winner, but I would make it my new control because there's value in just your website not looking dated and being updated and looking modern. So that's choice number 1. Now, if it underperformed, I would never roll out something that actually underperformed. I think that's a mistake. You make it the new control, and then you run a new test against it, and you try and see if you can make it better. Right? Maybe you swap out the social proof. Maybe different social proof will get you some lift. The second thing I would do is get objective, qualitative user feedback.
I think doing qualitative research on this is a great advice. Okay, well, thank you so much for for an in on A/B testing. I want to go back to the company a little bit, and because there are usually 2 questions that I ask at the end of the podcast, and what for you, or well, it can be for you as the CEO, or it could be for the company as long as you've been with it. What has been the biggest win and the biggest failure?
Well, I'll kind of draw on my time as a CEO, both at Spiralyze and ER Express. I've now been doing the CEO game for almost 15 years. The reality is, you spend most of that time not at the peaks. You spend most of the time either figuring out, am I in the valley, or trying to climb out of the valley. I'll say this: I'm going to not point to any one particular financial outcome or customer outcome, although there are some good ones along the way. I think for me, the biggest one was actually learning to live in the valley. And it sounds kind of weird, but for most CEOs, that's where you spend a lot of time. And without the valleys, you can't have peaks. Look, there are some companies where it's just peaks, up, 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 up. And if you're one of those CEOs, like just hang on for the ride, and credit to you that you got there. I think for most of the rest of us, it's a lot of along the way. Hopefully, the trajectory is upward, generally speaking, but it's up, down, left, right, left again, down again, up a little, down a lot, then up a lot, and that's life, especially on a day-to-day basis. Like if you're generally doing well, and I'm fortunate because Spiralyze is doing really well. There's still lots of ups and downs day to day. I think that is like learning to detach yourself from the moment to moment, and you can learn to live in that valley. It took me a long time to figure that out. Of the 11 years I did ER Express, probably took me the first 10 to figure that out. Biggest failure, great question. I think that every founder sets out with an irrational belief in her or his dream. And there's a great saying, I certainly didn't make this up, that entrepreneurship is getting other people to build your dream. And a lot of what CEOs do is recruit people to the dream. They recruit customers to that dream. They recruit partners to that dream. They recruit employees and equity partners and investors to that dream. And when people are saying yes, it feels great. When they say no, it feels bad. But probably the worst is someone that says yes, signs up, and then after a while says, I don't believe in the dream anymore. It's a really tough place. I had that happen at ER Express where one of my partners, one of my in fact, COO of the business, he was the first equity person I hired at ER Express. And he and I had worked together at a prior company. So there was a long history there. About 7.5, almost 8 years into the journey, said, it's time for me to do something else. And he had a wonderful opportunity come up, so I didn't begrudge him. But the subtext there was, I don't believe in the dream anymore. It was a tough moment for my other two equity partners in the business because they were staying, but if I were them, I would certainly be questioning, should I be believing in the dream? And I think it was hard for our team members. It was still a small company to see one of the leaders leave. And for me, I saw that as a personal failure. I had recruited him to the dream. He bought into the dream, but I had failed to get us to the shore, to that Valhalla, to that promised land. And he made an objective decision not to do it. And I think that's a huge failure for every entrepreneur. You recruit people to dream, and then at some point they go, the dream's not happening, man.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, certainly like this part of the podcast is usually very personal, and a lot of founders and CEOs here talk about either losing a member of the team, or the biggest success being having a great team with them. So it's always around people. Thanks a lot for talking about that so honestly. So the last question is always about the hack, right? So anything that worked for you through these years, could be completely like unconventional, something very strange for others, but something that works um, in any part of the business or your personal leadership.
I'm going to pick something that I think everyone who's listening to this can do in 5 seconds. It's called the 1 second test. It's a great test for your homepage. So it's very CRO, MarTech specific. Your audience, when they get to your homepage, they make up their mind in about 1 second. Are they in the right place? Now, they're not making up their mind, are they going to buy? Are they going to read, consume content, engage? They're just making at a subconscious level, hey, did I walk through the right door? Whether they came from an ad, they organically found you, they actually put in your company's name because they know specifically they wanted to come there. And in that 1 second that you have to make sure they know they're in the right place, your brain, their brain, is processing a bunch of information on your homepage. And we know your brain processes images faster than words. So you need to find the right balance between communicating via something simple like images and words, because words, you got to read the words, you got to think about it, you got to synthesize it and go, okay, I'm in the right place. So that's why I call it the 1 second test. You have 1 second to do this. What you should do is take your homepage, right click on the browser and put your homepage in Google Translate to another language, something that your friends are unlikely to speak. Like, and then show it to 5 people, not like that already know your company, and just ask them, what do you think this company does? They're not going to say something like, oh, we make uh, payment software for restaurants, like not something like that. But they might be able to say like, oh, it's a software business, or um, you make some kind of technology for accounting. That's kind of the answer you're looking for. And it's a great way to know how much of the heavy lifting is happening on the images, how much heavy lifting is happening in the words. Because when you put it in a different language, you basically remove the ability for your audience, the people you're showing this to use the words to reach a conclusion. And it's kind of a super simple hack. It costs nothing. Everyone can do it, and you instantly get this feedback, and it can be eye opening, by the way. But people do it, and people say, I think you sell sweaters, and it's accounting software. So do the 1 second test, everyone. It's easy to do. It'll be eye opening, and it gives you a quick message. Hey, when people reach us, do they know what we do?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's a good one. Thanks for sharing that. And thanks for sharing this story. I mean, first of all, great insights about A/B tests, and then, your personal story with both companies is really great. So I really
Well,
enjoyed
thank you.
talking with you. Thank you for making
Thank
the
you for the warm
time.
words.
Absolutely. And, happy to see what you're up to with Spiralyze, and do it again sometime.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Me too. And take care.